In today's episode, we talk about Instagram. Coming up. In today's episode, you're going to feel empowered, unstoppable, and gain the tools to accomplish anything you can dream of, using real examples from some of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world. That's all happening today on the I Can Show. Hey everyone, welcome to the I Can Show, where we explore the realm of possibilities and showcase how you can succeed in your passion. My name is James Martin. I'm so excited for today because we're going to talk about one of my favorite social media platforms ever on the internet, and that's Instagram. I think Instagram is, as well as it's becoming popular, I think it's one of these things that sort of has a lot of underpriced attention. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people don't think of Instagram in terms of a way of really communicating, really building. It's just kind of there, just put up a few posts and just do whatever. But it really fascinates me about these social sites on how they can be utilized to the max as a tool. Remember, these social sites are tools. And so there's so many different possibilities of how you can actually utilize something like Instagram to really grow your business. I personally think that every business should be on Instagram. I don't care who you're serving. I don't care what your service is about. I think everyone can utilize Instagram and get some great benefits and great results out of it. That's just my opinion. But don't just take my word for it. Right now, we're going to dive really deep into sort of the analytics and tactics that other people have done to really grow either a following or grow some business out of Instagram. A lot of different tactics. And by the way, before we get started, I would like to ask that if there's anything that inspires you in this episode, and if you have any comments regarding the feedback of this episode, I would love to hear it either down in the comments below, or please shoot us an email at magiccutmedia@gmail.com. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. All right. So according to a blog by adespresso.com, here's why Instagram is one of the best social media platforms and why every business and every entrepreneur should be on Instagram. So number one, as of June 2018, Instagram was reported to have over 1 billion active users, which falls just under Facebook with 1.4 billion and just above Twitter with 68 million monthly users. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to just pause for a second because I think it's very important whenever you look at analytics regarding how many users, you have to keep in mind that number one, whenever you're looking at, how many active users are on these social platforms, are you talking about active as in like every day or every few days? Or are you talking about like once in a while? Because something you have to keep in mind, especially on Instagram, not everyone has one account. I've got, how many accounts? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? 6, 7 different Instagram accounts, and that's just me. That being said, not all of them are active every single day. There's a couple of them that are pretty active. But I know tons of other people that can have one account and use it once in a while. There are people that have 5 accounts, and several of them are very active, like pretty much every day or every other day. So at least it's important to know that, yeah, you're talking about 1 billion users, but like how many people does that really break down to? Now, that being said, I don't want you just disregard Instagram and be like, oh, 1 billion users, well, that could be anyone. Because here's the other thing to keep notice too. If you have one person who owns multiple different accounts, keep in mind that they're going to have different audiences within these different accounts. If you win one people over, they're probably going to try and support you and like you with every single one of their accounts, right? So imagine if one person that you win over has 5 accounts. Those 5 accounts are going to follow you. That's 5 extra followers out of one person. And then every time you post, maybe that person is going to like it from all 5 different accounts. You see where I'm getting at? And so don't just disregard it. It can actually have a lot of beneficial uses. So the other thing, there are nearly 500 million daily users. Instagram images get an average of 23% more engagement than their Facebook counterparts. Fascinating. Brands on Instagram regularly see engagement from about 4% of their total followers. So obviously building up the followers is very important. 70% of users look up a brand on Instagram. I can testify to this. Anytime I'm looking up a business, it's usually on Facebook and on Instagram, sometimes even on YouTube. 80% of users follow at least one brand on Instagram, so make sure you are their best friend. 60% of users learn about new products through Instagram, especially since Instagram came out with a special add-on, as it were, a few months ago with an update. So you can actually post a picture regarding like a product, and then you can actually tag the product inside the post. So that when people click on that product, it's taken straight to the website where they would buy it, right? They're becoming a little more like Facebook, which is great. But you can tag in your product and tag in your service. Or if you're listening and you want to utilize, let's say, Amazon products and you're an affiliate, you can do the same thing, aside from just having a link in the description. More than 200 million users visit a business profile at least once a day. That way they don't miss anything. Posts containing or featuring user-generated content has a 4.5% higher conversion rate than non-user-generated content, which means if you can get your customers to post pictures and tag you in it, then you're going to see a lot more return on investment. You're going to see a lot more traction, and I mean, that's easy marketing, right? If somehow you can utilize that, that would be a huge benefit. Images with more background space or negative or white space get 29% more likes than those without the space. Posing your pictures are important. Posts with locations get 79% more engagement. Now, there's a reason why. So either when you're making a post or you're putting on a story and you tag a location, there are people who will go to a particular location or a particular city and are going to look at all the posts under that area. You know, for instance, I live pretty close to Barrie, Ontario. Anytime I make a post and I say, you know, in Barrie, Ontario, there are people, and I've seen it, there are people that go searching up Barrie, Ontario and will like everything under that post. And there are even other businesses in Barrie that are trying to connect with other businesses in Barrie and are going to go to, you know, that Barrie section, that Barrie location in Instagram to find all the other followers. So it's really, really beneficial. And again, you're going to get more traction. So it's opening up more access of followers, right? You don't just post it, but you put in your hashtags, you put in the tags, you put in the location, you put everything that you can possibly do to really, really market your post and your stories inside Instagram. 60% of top brands use the same filter for every post. Again, this is to keep in mind about brand consistency. You don't have to use a filter. That's just my personal preference. Instagram stories is attracting big advertisement budgets to the platform. So yes, so you can advertise a story, and a lot of people go through their stories. Like, I think more people probably go through stories than they do with their actual news feed. But try and utilize both. 59% of millennials are watching stories on their Instagram, 52% on Snapchat, and 48% on Facebook. So yes, you need to utilize those Instagram stories and try and be on Instagram stories at least once a day. Once or twice a day. And the reason why I say that is because when you get into it, you're going to be in like their top 5 watched stories. If you can get them to constantly watch your stories and never miss a single one, then you're always going to be on the top of their news feed, and they're always going to see you. It's about being in front of their face as often as you can. That's a humongous help. I really highly encourage, like, figure out all sorts of things. I mean, they give you thousands of tools on Instagram stories. It's definitely a tool that you really want to utilize. There are 400 billion users watching stories on a daily basis. Now, again, keep in mind that some people do have multiple Instagram accounts. Some at least with 10, and keep tabs on all of them either daily or weekly. You know, my background comes from the performing arts, so I was around a lot of kids. We follow each other. I follow them, they follow me back. Most kids have a personal and a spam, and there's usually like a musical, a makeup, a cooking, a photo, a comedy, or a vlogging account. And try and get to utilize all of those. 30% of users say they've bought a product they've discovered on Instagram. Huge benefit. So that's why you should be on Instagram, and I hope you guys really, really consider being on the platform. I love it. Me personally, very, very visual. Now, let's get into some actual meat and strategies. So this first sort of strategy comes from a video by an amazing YouTuber by the name of Sunny. She posted a video called Grow Organically on Instagram and Gain Real Followers, featuring another YouTuber, Amanda Bucci, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. Both these women are sort of in the entrepreneurship and they teach social media, etc. So there are 4 C's in order to grow an Instagram account, or at least 4 C's to keep in mind. Number 1, create captivating content. The idea is what can go viral. You know, one of the great things that is a big feature in Instagram is its shareable content. Because now when you make a post on Instagram, anyone can share it to their stories, right? And that's becoming a bit of a trend now. Same as on Facebook, when you see something that you really like and you share that to your timeline or to your page or to whatever, you can do that on Instagram. So if you can get people to really, really be captivated by something that's really, really fascinating, they can post it to their stories and get other followers to check it out. You can also take your own posts, post it in your own stories as a way to make sure that people who are just seeing your stories and not your post don't miss your post. Utilize those stories, guys. So, what can go viral in my niche? Number 2 is consistency. We've spoken about this before on YouTube, but it's still the same with Instagram. Now, I've heard of many different tactics regarding like how often you should post on Instagram. I heard one time that you should post at least once a day on Instagram if possible. And I've also heard of other people like Gary Vaynerchuk, and we're going to talk about some of his tactics in a moment. Gary has often recommended that you post 4 times a day. That being said, I think it depends on the content. I think it depends on your audience. Like I remember he said to a fitness account one time, someone that was running a fitness account, post 4 times a day. But maybe they're the type of people that really, really consume that content and really, really want to see the bodybuilding and, you know, all those content. So, but it's also about showing up, same time, same day, same style, consistency. Number 3, this is cheating, which is don't purchase likes or followers or robots. The reason why is Instagram will know about it and will flag your account. And I mean, people will tell. Like if you get if you buy 1,000 followers on your Instagram and you're only getting like 20 likes a post, people can tell. Finally, commenting for conversation, and we're going to talk more about this later as well. The idea is to make sure that anytime someone comments on your post, reply to every single one of them. And make sure that you're leaving your 2 cents worth. I think a lot of people, you know, like I'm going on my Instagram, and this is just general food for thought. I go on my Instagram, and I promise you, I'm going through everyone's posts, and I'm leaving my 2 cents worth on everyone's post. You should be doing that as well. It creates engagement, it creates questions, it creates conversation, and you guys go into a thoughtful, you know, talk, a chat, basically. But you got to make sure you reply back. And it's also great if you utilize your 2 cents worth. So if someone says to you, oh, I love that you're doing this, you're so great, you're so smart, you're so funny, you're so beautiful, you're so whatever, and then you write, thank you, that just cuts off the conversation. As opposed to, you continue the conversation. Like, oh, thank you. I find it's also important if X, Y, and Z happens. Or in my opinion, I think everyone should do this, this, and this. So it's about keeping the conversation alive. And the longer you can keep it alive, the better. Again, you're establishing a relationship and you're keeping people active on your account and really want to engage with you. All right. So those are the 4 C's regarding how to grow an Instagram account. Now, I want to take you to someone else that's going more deep into sort of like really, really more practical advice regarding how you should be posting your Instagram content. This is a video called 7 Ways to Grow Organically on Instagram in 2018 and how to get followers on Instagram for free IGTV. First thing he says is use as many hashtags as you can and focus on popularity. You know that little thing that we see on Instagram posts that a hashtag? Most people grab about 20 random hashtags and throw them in. And I've seen some of the most useless hashtags used in some of these things. You can't just do that. You need to find hashtags that are really going to bring you an investment, right? You can go on Instagram, you can go to the search bar, search up hashtags, type in a hashtag, and it's going to show you how many people are posting utilize that hashtag. And you can go into the hashtag. You can see how often are these posts. Obviously, the more frequent they are, the more popular they are. If it's like, a few thousand posts and it's like once every millennial, then obviously it's useless. So find hashtags that are really going to benefit you in some shape, way, or form. Next is post your hashtags in the comments, not the post. And I think that's a very, very interesting comment. No pun intended. But it's also going to let people know that, because see, at first people will see your post and then they'll see one comment. And they'll think, oh, maybe someone else is engaging, and then they're probably going to be more likely to engage with you as well. So that helps definitely. And if you can get your customers, you can get your followers to also leave a hashtag or maybe repost a hashtag. Like if you can tell your followers that, like, listen, if you like this, or if you want to win this, or you believe in this, or anything like that, let me know by commenting down below, hashtag whatever you want. Reply to when someone comments on your post. I've already mentioned this before. Again, it's about engagement and having a conversation. Comment on other photos of relevance. We're going to talk about this in further detail later. Again, the idea is that you're finding other people in your relative niche or customers, and you're engaging in a conversation with them. So if you're following other people, you go through your news feed, leave your 2 cents worth on as many different photos as you can. Again, you're leading a conversation and you're constantly appearing in front of your followers' minds, right? As long as they constantly see you, you'll always be in their mind. Next, stick to a theme, colors and fonts, or use a specific filter. So again, keeping that brand consistent. Next is cross promotion, which is you promote your page on other social sites and maybe other Instagram accounts. So maybe some of you that have a business account also have a personal account. Are you showing off your business account on your personal? Not the other way around, but you're showing your business to your personal followers. Are you also posting your Instagram content on other social sites? Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. By the way, I'm not a huge fan of when these social sites get linked to each other and it's like you post to Instagram and then it automatically reposts to Twitter. I'm not a fan of that, because if you actually look very carefully, some of these sites are not fans to each other. So what that means is if you post a picture to Instagram and then you link it to your Twitter account, instead of posting the picture on Twitter, it's actually going to post the link, which means you got to click on the link that's going to take you all the way back to Instagram. You got to go into Instagram, post the content, and then if you want to take the same content, post it on Twitter, you got to post it there. But are you sharing around that you're on Instagram? So you got to kind of do a mixture of both, but let people know that you are on Instagram. And then finally, understand your analytics. So the same as YouTube, Instagram gives you fantastic analytics regarding like how often is your followers online, what times of the day, which days, are they male, are they female, what age range, what are they interested in, all this kind of information to really, really help you understand how to really gain more attraction from your followers. All right. So that's more of what you should be posting on your Instagram to really, really gain more followers. Now I want to show you a very, very popular and effective tactic. This is a tactic that I have used myself and it honestly has worked. This is a tactic kind of established by Gary Vaynerchuk, a well-known entrepreneur. We've talked about him in my last episode. And he has an Instagram rule. It's called the $1.80 rule. Here's what you do. The $1.80 rule basically means that you're going to find a hashtag relative to your audience, whatever that might be. When you go to Instagram, it's going to show you 3 popular posts under that one hashtag. You're going to click on every single one of those posts and you're going to leave your 2 cents worth. And you're going to find that one hashtag, 9 pictures, your 2 cents worth on each one of those pictures. Then you're going to find 9 other hashtags also relative to you. Find the 9 pictures in each one of those hashtags. Leave your 2 cents worth on all those pictures. If you do the math, 10 hashtags, 9 each, 2 cents on each one of them, it's $1.80. Now that being said, personally, I don't think you have to do 10 hashtags. you find something that works for you, because when you start commenting on a lot of different hashtags and a lot of different pictures, it does take up a lot of time. And again, you want to leave your 2 cents worth, not a paragraph, not just emojis, but like, you know, great stuff, or I love that you're doing this, or I love that advice, and you know, like something meaningful. Like, don't make it sound spammy. Don't make it sound like it's like a robot type thing. The idea is that you're doing something meaningful. You're creating a conversation. You're creating relationships. And you know what's really, really funny? There's a lot of people that really engage with that. I mean, I've personally done that with other people, and now I have good relationships with other, you know, people through those hashtags, and we now support each other. So it's a great way of sort of marketing within the platform itself. So that's something I highly recommend that everyone does. So that's the $1.80 rule. But Gary's also a huge advocate for another tactic on Instagram, which is the DMing, also known as direct message. Here's the thing about utilizing direct message. So first off, you can let your customers know that if they have any questions, they can message you directly. I would also recommend that you reply back to those messages. There's a lot of people who are on Instagram, very, very famous especially, and they don't reply back. Again, it's about having a relationship. It's about having that connection with your customers. So have those direct messages open. I have personally messaged so many different companies over the years, and a lot of them actually don't reply back. But a lot of them end up becoming good relationships. So utilize the DMing. And not just to let other people DM you, but utilize it to DM other people. Can you get into a celebrity's account? Because most of the time, celebrities are actually utilizing their own Instagram. It's not a third party. It's not someone else trying to run their Instagram. You can often just go straight to the person themselves. You know, like to name a celebrity off the top of my head, Ariana Grande, for instance, has said multiple times that no one runs her Instagram, no one runs her Twitter except her. Like, if you were to DM Ariana Grande, 100% of the time you would get Ariana Grande. If you were to tweet out to Ariana Grande, 100% of the time you would tweet out to Ariana Grande. Or if you were to go to Gary Vaynerchuk as an example, if you DM Gary Vaynerchuk, there's a good chance that he'll reply back to you. Especially if it's asking for advice or leaving your 2 cents worth, most of the time he'll probably reply back. Or if you tweet out Gary Vaynerchuk on Twitter, most of the time he'll either like your tweet or he'll at least comment back. So you can reach other people through that. It's not untouchable. Most of these celebrities and companies are not entirely untouchable. All right, so last thing I want to talk about is a really cool video that I found by Pompsy. He made a video called How I Grew My Instagram to 1 Million Followers in an interview with Anthony Santiago. Anthony Santiago is, and I can't even believe there is a term for this, but a professional Instagrammer. Can you even believe it? Here's his tactics. He finds, once again, a popular hashtag. He would spend 3 to 4 hours a day liking 1,000 photos. And he would do this over multiple hashtags. He would create his own hashtag called #ArtDaily to get featured on his own art account. He was a big fan of different pieces of art. And so what would happen is when people utilized his hashtag, he would repost it on his art account. So it wasn't like he was sharing his art. He was actually reposting other art that he was finding. At this point, he grew up to 12,000 followers. Then he teamed up with 5 to 6 other big art accounts where they would basically tag each other in each of their posts. This would help Anthony grow to 300,000 followers. And he would do this every single day. As soon as the video features came into play, his account blew up. By January 1, 2016, he had 400,000 followers. Every video became viral. And then by the end of January, he was at 700,000 followers. And then someone asked, and then here's the part that I found cool. He had a 700,000 follower account. Someone actually asked to buy his account for $150,000, which I think is fantastic. So there's a business for you right there. Grow an Instagram account with 700,000 followers. By May of 2016, he hit his first 1,000,000 followers. He continued to post 4 to 5 times a day at the same time. He would then start 3 other accounts. He would do the exact same tactic, and each of them would grow to between 300 to 500,000 followers each. To this day, people would pay him $200 for a 12-hour ad on his Instagram accounts. And right now, he actually helps run sort of the Instagram market, as it were, and offers expertise to Gary Vaynerchuk. He actually works at VaynerMedia, which is really, really, really cool. So I want to hear from you right now. Has there been a piece of advice about Instagram that inspires you to really, really utilize the platform and to grow your following and to really get an ROI on the platform? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments or email me at matchcutmedia@gmail.com. And if you got any value out of this podcast, I would love to invite you to our merchandise store online at shop.spreadshirt.ca/iCanShow. This is where you can find different sort of products and t-shirts and mugs and all sorts of great stuff. If you buy the merchandise, you are supporting this podcast, which allows us at Match Cut Media Promotion to constantly make more of these, push them out, and improve them more and more and more, especially when we go into the year 2019. I'm super excited for future episodes and what the future has yet to be in store. So I hope you got some benefit out of this podcast. I hope this inspires you. Go out there, crush it on Instagram, feel empowered, and I'll see you next time. Enjoy, guys.